of it. They've created a new template, so it's not a big deal. And what I really want to do is just redo all this chart. I'm going to do it on Bybit because right now Bybit has the most volume, and so therefore, even though you've got this really dodgy wick here and you've got an incorrect high there, I'm gonna I think because the volume is increasing on Bybit, it means that it's going to be more accurate. Okay, so see all my data, all my drawings and stuff, remove, gone. That's gone. Let's start from the top. Let's have a look at all of this stuff. Again, you've got two very important levels. You've got this yearly level up here. Gary, how's it going? People that overspent are the ones panic selling, while calm or enjoying the dips. I totally agree with you. Do you know, I'm so desperate for the price not to bounce back up, because in the UK, I don't know where you're from, but in the UK it's so difficult to sell property, and I'm literally been trying to sell my flat for a while. I found a buyer, she's got a mortgage, it's all being improved, and it's still, you know, like in most countries you can just do all of that in one day, and here in the UK it takes weeks if not months. You have to send it to solicitors, to lawyers, they have to do all kinds of funny searches. Nightmare, mate, nightmare. Oh, you're in Peterborough, good. So you know you know how it is. Nightmare. And so long. So I'm actually okay with the price dropping. I'm not too upset. I am upset if the price goes back and I haven't managed to sell my property in time to buy more. I'll be really upset. So I think if the price was to continue dropping, I'm like literally delighted, but miserable in the sense that obviously I don't want people to feel like somehow I've been not telling the truth or somehow manipulating. I'm not really. I haven't sold any. I still have exactly the same tokens that I buy and sell very small amounts just to test the liquidity of the exchanges so I can report back to everyone here. But I'm not actually buying or selling anything, you know. So we have two really important levels here on this chart now. Okay. We already had the original one, which is at 28 cents, 28.5 cents, which is a yearly level. And we've got this brand new yearly level that's been put in now from last year at 2.1 cents. So effectively, these are your two outer range liquidity levels. And the price will find absolutely the strongest support at this lower level down here. And as far as we're in this range, the strongest resistance will probably be about there, probably. So this is basically your range right now in terms of higher time frame liquidity. And the other two numbers to bear in mind, if people are interested, is the all-time high, which is at 1.56 there. Let me just change it to a different color so there's no confusion. And the all-time low, which is not this wick down here, but it's actually just, it's this one here. It's basically at this yearly level. So that's the all-time low. So those are the other two kind of areas where you're going to find the most support and resistance. The all-time high, the most resistance. The all-time low, the most support. The yearly level above us, the most resistance. The yearly level below us, the most support. So already just by looking at this, you can see that most of the support is here because you have confluence. You have a confluence of area where you have the yearly level and the all-time low pretty much next to each other. Okay, so there's quite a lot of strong support down here. What it means is if the price were to somehow get down to about 2.1 cents or 2 cents, you're going to get a lot of people buying. Yeah, that's the place, the absolute best place to buy. If you look in this chart and you're saying, where's the best place to buy? that's the best place to buy right there. Okay. And so naturally, the closer the price gets to the best place to buy, the more difficult it will be for the price to go down, because that's where you're going to get a greater imbalance between buyers and sellers. It's just a balance. The price moving up and down is just about the balance between buying and selling. The selling, that's all it is. At any point in time, if there's more buyers, the price will go up. And if at any point in time there's more sellers, the price will go down. Okay, the only thing that can change that is liquidity. And so obviously if you're in a low liquid zone, then few sellers can push the price down because there aren't actually buyers in that little zone. But that's a different kind of idea, which I'm going to go through. So this is fundamentally, this is it. Yeah, when you're looking at the charts, you don't really need to look at anything else. These are your higher time frame levels. And for the duration, for this bull market, I am expecting all-time highs. Okay, I don't see why not. This project is, we've completed the bear market. We've put in a really strong yearly candle here, this inverse hammer, and the price is starting to move up. I think it was normal for the price to go up and come back down, because effectively what you're doing as you go up, you're clearing liquidity. People who are trapped are able to escape, but then actually what ends up happening is that usually those same people buy back in. Okay, and so as the price descends, the harder it will be for the price to descend, and as the price goes down, the more less people are willing to sell, the more people are willing to buy. And so we're slowly approaching those areas now. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Let me just kind of break it down and have a look at these other candles. Again, you can see that it does look like those areas of buying and selling are correct. We're right now coming back to the previous 6-month open. Yeah, it's interesting. Nothing really to report. We had a really powerful 3 months, which closed at 9.1 cents. And ever since that month closed, which was March, so from April onwards, the price has just been sold off. Okay, that's what's happening now. The price is being sold off. Let me bring the volume back up. You can see actually this decline has been with increasing volume. So this is not, this sell-off is not, as you would like to imagine, gentle consolidation. Usually consolidation is decrease in volume, and the price doesn't, it will descend, but it doesn't like go down like crazy. What this is not gentle consolidation. This is actually a big take profit. What you're experiencing in this candle is a massive take profit. Yeah, people are just taking their profits. Okay. Usually when you get decreasing volume consolidation, you get some people take profit, but they're still expecting higher. So what happens is they take profit, they put it back in because they're expecting higher. What we're seeing now is just a straightforward, I'm taking my profit. I'm going to take my profit. Doesn't mean people are getting out. It just means they're taking profit. The only kind of point of interest here is that it's quite a high volume, and the price has been, it hasn't been easy to go down. Okay, so you see here in these the current candle is still, we're still in this current candle, which is May, and we're basically 11 days into May, and we've put in as much volume as that green candle, and we're almost back at the top of the previous candle. You see that? So there's been a lot of selling, and what I can see is there's been a lot of buying too. Yeah, the reason why I can see that is because after all of this selling, the price hasn't moved down that much, and so therefore you can see that there's buying too. The price is being bought, even though there's, at the moment, there's still, it seems to be that there's more sellers than buyers. The fact of the matter is that the price is getting absorbed. You can see that. Doesn't mean the price can't go down further. It just means that you're getting buy. It's a different kind of consolidation if we were to go sideways and you'd have declining volume, than if you're actually getting a sell-off with increasing volume. Obviously, I think this current month is going to be increased. Whatever happens is going to have an increase in volume. They're very different situations. All right. So it's just observations. I'm not saying, I'm not telling people what's going to happen. I have no idea really. This is all speculative, and we just have to see what happens. I'll just kind of put in these levels as well. These are important levels now. If people are interested in levels of buying and selling, I'm marking them off for you. And so naturally, if you're interested, you can just take note of those numbers that appear on the side. I know there are people interested, so I'm just doing the work for you. So you see these numbers, these are your levels, right? These are your if you mark them off, if the price comes up there, those are the good levels to sell and to buy. Right, as you come into them, you buy. As you price comes up into them, you can sell. Let me do the daily time, the weekly as well. Let me do the weekly time frame. Let me just update it because I haven't done this in a while. And so you see that one, you see this weekly level. It's interesting, but the price came into it. Look at that. Look how perfect that was. It actually front run it by a millimeter, but for all intents purposes, that's the tapped level, i.e. it's been cleared of liquidity. But because it's been perfectly tested, it's probably still relevant. You probably can't ignore that level. Just because if that level had somehow, if the price had managed to go through it and whatever, then you might ignore it. But because the price hasn't done that, it's come right into that level and fallen back. I'll rename it. I'm going to call it washed because it's been traded through. But I think it's still relevant. You've got a weekly level there. This one here has been traded through. You see that one? But because there's a monthly level there, it doesn't even matter. That's a strong level. So whereas before 9 cents was our launch price, now there's a monthly level there instead. Yeah, it's interesting. Before 9 cents was our launch price. That was the reason why it was a strong level. But now instead, because the price has managed to trade there and close there and open there and fall down, 9 cents has become a different kind of level. It's still a strong level. It's a monthly level. So we still have to flip 9 cents. Here, technically, it's 9.1 cents, but it's thereabouts 9 cents. Even though the weekly level is washed, the monthly level isn't. So the monthly level is more significant than the weekly level. So that's just something to bear in mind. These are the lower levels. That's the first untapped weekly one. This one is tapped here. So is that one washed? Doesn't really matter what word you use. These are all washed. That's an untapped one right down there. And then let's go to daily levels. Let's have a look at them. All right. Let me start from the bottom. Gary is saying that he's only ever bought new properties, so he's had it easy. Oh. It's a nightmare. I can't wait to get out of property and just be all in crypto one day in the future. This daily level is cleared of liquidity, but not this one. And you have this one here at the same place as the monthly. I won't mark it because we've already have monthly there. You have a daily there. You have a daily level there. One there. That's already taken. And one there. We're actually into one right now. You can see. That's why the price is finding support here. People are wondering, why is the price finding support here? Because we're into a daily level. Now this is an interesting one. You look at it, even though there's a daily level there, you see how the, yeah, that's fine, sorry, my bad. So that's the daily. I don't like these ones. I don't think they're too strong. The ones that are really strong are the ones where the price goes up and reverses, like this one. But then here you see the price already traded through it, so it's no longer relevant. And the same thing happened here, and actually the same thing happened up here. Price traded through it. There's a weekly level there, but not a daily one because it's already traded through. And so that's the next one is there. That one's traded through. But there's a monthly there, and then you've got on there, that one's traded through. Let's see if there's anything here that's interesting. All the way back here. Well, that's already taken. That was quite a strong level. And we go all the way back into historic price action. Here, that's traded through, traded through, traded through, traded through. There's one up there. You need the 10x on Slurp. Is that to get break even, or is that to make money? Probably to make money, huh? Oh, retirement. Amazing. I think you won't have the problem with that. You'll be able to retire. You'll probably get more than the 10x. All right. So these are your levels. All right. So if anyone was wondering where are my levels, these are your levels. I'm going to mark those off as, oh, they're not all there. Okay, let me just put these 2 yearlies in there as well. So we have the all-time high, all-time low. That's fine. These are your levels. Yeah, so these are liquidity levels. What's the first impression that people get when they look at these levels? Well, first and foremost, we've created some levels on the way down. Yeah, so naturally, when you're zooming on the price, you're looking at the price. While there's a little bit of a gap to there, and then from there to there, from there to there, and there to there, we've still created some important liquidity levels on the way down. Yeah, that liquidity has to be cleared, and this is what people may not realize. Even though while we were up there, it wasn't a problem, but the minute you start going down after putting volume, now you have trap traders who entered TRVL for the first time at 8 cents or 7 cents or 10 cents or 12 cents, whatever. And now the price has come all the way back down to 4.5 cents. The next time in the future the price goes up, all of these people who were trapped will sell. They will sell. You can't expect them to not sell. Their trade went wrong. Their trade was for them to buy at 9 cents and for the price to go to the moon. And because their trade plan hasn't worked, this is their exit strategy is to exit at break even and reevaluate. Okay, so because we've created volume here and we've trapped a lot of traders, we've also at the same time created liquidity levels which haven't been cleared of liquidity. I've only marked the ones which haven't been cleared of liquidity. The one that I've marked which has been cleared, which is this washed weekly level, I think it's still relevant because the price front run it by a millimeter, and also because you see it's tested nicely on point, there's no reason why the next time it won't test again. Yeah, so I like it because it's a perfect test, and therefore I'll keep it there. And maybe some people didn't escape, and maybe the second time they will escape. So you have to bear these things in mind when you're kind of contemplating the way the price wants to move or is going to move. All right, so regardless of that, you can see that we have a lot of liquidity below us. Yeah, these are areas of liquidity of interest. Every single one has to be flipped from support into resistance as we go down, and every one of these areas of interest people will buy. Yeah, the price will find support, and naturally you can see that at the moment most of the support on the way down is going to be somewhere here. There's a little gap, then you have a little bit of support here, a little bit of a gap, and another big gap, and another big gap, and then obviously the biggest amount of support is all the way down at the bottom. You have this really important monthly level here, but there's a gap on both sides. Okay, and these gaps, the price moves through gaps really fast. Yeah, so when you see these gaps, and so that naturally, I'm quite excited for the time that we get back above 5 cents, because when we do get it back above 5 cents, guess what's going to happen? We'll get back up to 7.3 very quickly, because we've created this liquidity gap, and all the liquidity's be cleared, and the price has come down without creating resistance. And so naturally, as the price moves up, it will move up very fast, and that's just the way the price moves. That's how you can see how the price moves, is looking at historic price action and just marking off the liquidity levels. Gary, you're onto the money, huh? Slurf leading BTC again. Just when you see Slurf do something, just now you can just go all in on BTC. You found the trick. Discovered it. I'm going to have a look at Slurf. So yeah, so just looking at this, there's a lot of liquidity levels below us, and so I don't think people need to panic if they think that we're going to go down to nothing. We're not. There's no way that that's going to happen. There's just too much demand below us for that to happen. The reason why the price dropped suddenly from 5 cents to 4.5 in one fell swoop is exactly the reason why I told you there was a gap. The gap filled, and look at where we are. There is another gap underneath us, so I don't want people to think that this is it. If the price decides that it wants to go up, it will go up. If the price decides it wants to go down, guess what? It's going to go all the way down to 4.2 cents. And if the price decides it wants to go down again, guess what? It's going to go all the way down to 3.9 cents. It's just the way the price moves. It moves from level to level, all right? So these are the liquidity levels based on price, and I've just mapped them out for us. The other way I'm going to map out the levels are volume levels, okay? And so I do this quite often. I'm just going to pull a volume range pull on. I'm going to use a slightly lower time frame so I can get the most accurate volume profile, because when you do this volume range pulls, it ignores the last candle, the current candle. I'm just going to go all the way back to the opening of this token. And for people who are interested, again, I'll repeat myself. I use value area volume 68%, and then the row size I'm using 2500. If you use a smaller row size, you're going to get less laggy. It's going to be less laggy when the trading view draws it. And obviously during the week I mentioned that this is quite interesting. The point of control moved up. For all intents and purposes, that's bearish unless the price finds support, which it was until it kind of struggled. That's problematic for us. I'm not going to pretend that that's not problematic. I'm not going to say, oh no, everything is fine, the world is gravy. It's not, because now we have a major volume level that's above us, and that will act as resistance until it's flipped into support. It's just the way it works. I didn't make this up. It's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm just marking out all of these levels now. What's interesting about the price is that we've also put in a high volume node here. I'm going to mark that off. That's where the previous point of control used to be. And now that area of interest is our high volume node. Just to see, I might just increase this number just to get more accurate pivot. See, it's slightly higher. I might increase the number again just to get an even more accurate pivot. Will that give me data? No. Probably need to go to 999. 999. Nope. Maybe a bit less. No. Right, so maybe 5,000 is the max. That's fine. Let me just put the point of control where it should be. Put this right in the middle. Let's see. Why is the point of control there? Whatever. There's also a high volume node up there, but that's fine. You have quite, when you're looking at this volume profile, there's quite a lot of volume in that range. It's just an observation. All right. So these are your volume levels now. And I know on the other exchanges, there's slightly different volume profiles, but I think because Bybit seems to be leading right now in terms of the volume, I think I'm more interested in this right now. Until that changes, I'll just be using Bybit. Let me just have a look. See today's volume. Do I have it? Where is it? 2.8 million. If I compare that to KuCoin, yeah, 856,000. Gate 1.5 million, and Mex was much less. That's 637. So definitely Bybit is leading in terms of volume, and so therefore, until that changes, I'll be focusing on the Bybit chart. It'll probably be the most accurate one, unless that changes. But I'll still be using the correct historic data in terms of the all-time high and the all-time low. Okay, so that's your overall range volume profile. And effectively what you have to imagine is that the price is in a range until it's not. And these red lines, the value area low, the high volume node, the point of control, the value area high, will act as support and resistance levels until they're flipped. Okay, and naturally when you're looking at the highest volume node here, which is the point of control, that will act as the greatest support or resistance. And so clearly we have a job to do. The bulls have a job to do because we've lost the point of control. You see that? We've lost it. Now, I don't think we've effectively tested it for a real loss. Like, I would like to see this to know that we've lost it. Like, I'm not seeing that yet. And so therefore I'm not thinking to myself, well, the point of control is like, look at the value area high here. Yeah. When the price was coming down, you think to yourself, oh, look, we've lost it. But see what happens. The price comes up to test it like that. Test, test, rejection, you see? And what's interesting about the value area high is that the price was unable to close above it for 4 days. You've got wicks, but no close. Okay. So I'd like to see that on the point of control. And until I see that, I'm not going to just assume that the next time the price goes up, it's going to find resistance. I expect it, but I'm not going to assume it, because it's very possible that the price goes up, goes right through it, and comes back down to support to continue going. Like, it's very possible for that to happen. And so therefore you always have to wait for the reaction when you're looking at trading. That being said, we have lost it. And naturally, when you're looking at the volume chart, where is the best place to buy? This high volume node is going to be the best place to buy at 3.1 cents. Okay. In terms of volume levels, that's the best place to buy. There's no shadow of a doubt about it. And even better than the point of control, the high volume node will be the value area low. The problem is that you're then buying underneath resistance. We basically need to hold the high volume node as support, and we have to put in enough volume there to move the point of control down to the lows of this range. That would be the first sign of strength that I'll be looking for if we go lower. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea, but I do think that that will be my first indication of strength if the point of control is moved to the lows, or if the price can go back above the point of control and turn it back into some kind of support level. Okay, so those are the two. Like when I'm looking at the higher time frame, that's really what I'm looking for. I'm not really concerned. I'll be buying. I'll take chunks out of these red candles, these big dips. I take chunks out of them. You know, I will participate in our corporate endeavor, which is to take TRVL to the moon, traveling to the moon. That's what we want to do. We all want to travel to the moon and maybe even further. And you know, we will, you know, anyone who's participant up till this point is definitely here because they have the same kind of ideas that I do, a common goal. But this is obviously going to take a little bit longer. And therefore, that's fine. That's not a big deal, because it just means that anyone now that you tell people, like people are telling people about TRVL, well, you don't want to tell them about TRVL when TRVL is already overextended and pumping. You want to tell your friends, you want to tell your families, you want to tell all the people that you think might be interested in about TRVL when the price is low. Yeah, that's what you want to do, because that's just how we help each other to become wealthy. You know, you tell people when the price is low, this is a great project. This is a game-changing project. This is a project that can make massive impact in Web3 and just in the real world. And now is a good time to enter because the price is also pulling back and we're having quite a deep correction. And this is the first deep correction that we've had since this bull market began. So naturally, this is the first big opportunity for people to scale in and fill their positions and fill their bags at cheap prices. Really, it's a good opportunity. That's what I'm seeing. But the same thing applies. When I'm looking at the charts, we have to get back above the point of control, flip it into support, or potentially we have to go down here and find support. Yeah. Now, there are lots of John White, XRP is going to the moon. Whatever. I don't think so. There's lots of levels in between. So I've identified these levels. It's very easy to do where the price could find support. Yeah. Just because the high volume node down there is the best place to buy, or flipping the point of control would be the best signal for continuation to the upside. There's no reason why the price can't find support anywhere, any one of these lines. Yeah, the price can find support. There's a lot of support here, and there's a lot of support somewhere here. Okay, price can find support. There's no reason why the price needs to come down all the way down to this high volume node. But I do think the high volume node is going to be the best entrance for anyone who's not into position. We can't know if the price is going to go down there, but by God, if the price does go down there, then if you don't buy, then literally you're missing a golden opportunity. Yeah, like 3.1, like literally you buy as much as you can. Honestly, it's I can looking at the where the liquidity is. You have volume confluence there, you have liquidity levels. It's right by the value area low. We have a look at that consolidation there. There's a lot of liquidity there. That's basically where you want to buy, really. Now, like I said, I'm taking chunks out of this, small chunks, until my property purchase goes through. I'm hoping by the time I get my funds that the price is going to be at 3.1. I really am, honestly. Now looking at it, I will be scaling in when it eventually happens, but I'll be looking to, if the price ever did come to 3.1, I would really be taking as much sell orders if I can. Yeah, that's what I think. All right, so we have all of this stuff. Let me just put that aside into volume levels. Get rid of these brush strokes. We've got our higher time frame levels. That's perfect. Volume. Okay, so we've got all of that now. Then the other thing that we do is we do Gary says I'll buy with you at 3.1. Okay, there you go. It's the best place. Like, I can't tell you that it's going to come down there. I can't promise that. I don't know. I have no idea, but it literally is the best place. So this is a fib retracement from the all-time high to the all-time low. Okay, and now clearly, as you can see, we've lost our 236. We haven't had a back test. People might not realize the back tests are really important. Okay, and that's right underneath this point of control. It definitely is strong confluence for resistance. So I don't want people to think that this isn't going to act as resistance on the way up. Yeah, even though we haven't had a back test, we still have to cross this line and flip it back into support. Yeah. So even if we go up, we still have to back test it. Like, it doesn't really matter. But if you're going up, you want to back test. And if you're going down, you want to back test. Yeah. If you're going down and you don't get a back test, you might go back up, but you still need a back test. You want a back test. Yeah. And so these back tests are really important. Potentially, you could argue that the point of control was back tested. Look at these candles. These are daily candles. But I don't like these kind of back tests. Maybe you could argue that this was a back test. Maybe the point of control was back tested. Very messy back test. I don't know. But certainly the 236 hasn't been back tested. And so I'd like to see that before I determine that is now strong resistance. It will be. You have to assume that it is. But sometimes what happens is when the price easily comes through it, the price easily goes through it. You know, like, that's sometimes the price does that. If you easily go through a level, you have to back test it to confirm that level is actually a flipped level. So these are your higher time frame fibs. Nothing changes. Yeah, these are still all relevant levels, and it's just amazing looking at it now in hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. Look how important that 382 was, and look how important this 236 was. Yeah, look how important it was. Yeah, these are fib levels drawn from the all-time high back in 21 through to the all-time low put in October 23, and just base up to this point we had these levels. And looking at these levels, look how relevant they were, these fib levels. So you can't deny that fib is important, and higher time fib is effectively, it's magic. It's magic when it comes to buying and selling. And there's no reason why the price won't go and react again of every single fib line on the way up. There's no reason why it won't happen. So just, it's good to keep these levels. I think the most important and most strongest level that we're going to experience on the way up will be that yearly level, which is just at the golden pocket there, probably. So while people are like thinking to themselves, oh, I'm worried the price is going to go to zero, I'm still thinking to myself, where are we going to find the strongest resistance going up? And so naturally, looking at the charts now, with all of the volume in, with all of the higher time frame levels in, with this fib levels in, I'm thinking to myself, excuse me, we got some quite strong confluence now here at the point of control in this 236. Here, this weekly level in this value area high. We've got a couple of strong levels here, a daily and a weekly, quite close to each other. Then we've got our daily with our 382 up there. Okay, probably the strongest levels on the way up to clear this range. And then going further up, I'm actually not too, I actually don't think this wash weekly is going to matter. Now looking at it, I think if we're able, if the price is able to get past these, why would a wash level like that even matter? So probably now, just thinking about it, I wouldn't care about that. I think by the time we get back up to 10.5, we'll be at 17.6 very quickly. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, actually, you'll probably get right up to my area of interest, which is 2.28 cents. That's kind of like what I'm thinking, up into those, into the golden pocket. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen, but that for me, after we clear, and this is the thing, I don't want people to feel like this isn't going to happen. We have resistance above us, and we have to clear all of that resistance. And it's not going to be a straightforward, quick process to do that. It's just the way it is. But once you do, we're flying. We'll be right up to 28, 29 cents very quickly. Yeah, because you've got two large gaps. So basically from about 10 cents to 17.5, and from 17.5 to about 29. These are two big gaps. And so effectively what needs to happen is that 382 and this daily level needs to be flipped into support. Then you're there. And then you're there. Excuse me. Very quickly. I don't see why that can't happen once we get back up. I don't think it'll be too difficult to get back up, to be honest with you. A lot of people like panicking a little bit. I think it's always going to be a little bit tricky clearing liquidity. Clearing trap liquidity is not easy. And naturally, to clear trap liquidity, you need volume. And that volume has to come with a wider bullish sentiment that captures the whole market. And so until we see that, we may not get enough bullish sentiment to get past this area. But once the market goes back to bullish, and once people are like crazy buying like never before, that's when you're going to get the input of volume, and maybe that's when we're going to go up. So effectively what we're going to be experiencing now potentially is another accumulation period, and I don't know how long that's going to last. I can't predict that. I think it's still largely to do with Bitcoin, and maybe we're just going to go down and just test all of these levels until we finally find some kind of higher time frame support, bottom out effectively, and maybe then the price is going to start coming back up. We still need volume to clear this trap liquidity here. We still need to flip the point of control into support. And once we get that, we'll be with the market sentiment returning to bullish, yeah? Because then people are going to start buying willy-nilly, not caring about tomorrow. And that's when we're going to get a situation where we can go up. That's kind of the reality of what I'm seeing. Now, everything could change with Bitcoin. Now, I want people to be aware of that. If for some reason Bitcoin tomorrow shows strength, then it's not difficult for someone to buy up 2 million, 3 million, 4 million tokens. It's not that much in the scale of things. It's probably at these prices, it's probably about $150,000. I'm guessing, maybe a bit more. And it wouldn't be hard to get right back up there. Yeah. So if tomorrow Bitcoin, or if by Tuesday, Wednesday, Bitcoin starts to pump like there's no tomorrow, yeah, there's no reason why this can't just suddenly find its strength and go right back up to there. And then you'll end up, look, that's the chart you'll be looking at then. Yeah. And while I'm looking at it now and contemplating lower, yeah, don't be surprised if we find ourselves back into this range, because Bitcoin has finally shown some real strength and the market sentiment has returned back to buying the highs again of Bitcoin. Okay, that would require Bitcoin to go right back up to the all-time high and flip the all-time high into some kind of support level. If that happens, then I think everything changes, and then you're not looking at a long drawn out winter of crypto or altcoins, whatever. You'll be looking at a quick recovery and back on track. If that was to happen, you'd have a lot less trouble clearing the trap liquidity. The lower we go, the harder it's going to get to untrap this liquidity. Yeah, if you spend a large period of time down here, it's going to be harder to unravel that liquidity that's been trapped. If you kind of come down and just pop back up, then you're not going to have that same problem in unclearing this trap liquidity, because people will look at that and go, okay, that's not a problem, I'm still okay, it was just a blip, buy the dip, whatever. You know, they'll just keep on buying. Yeah, they'll only start thinking about selling if they find themselves in negative equity for an extended period of time. That's when trap liquidity becomes really problematic. Okay, and so I can't tell you that we're going down or up. It does look bearish, but like I've said to you in the past, there are many times where the price felt bearish, like here, and it just snapped right back up and we were back into the range. It looked like we'd lost the range. In fact, all that happened is we got a rejection from lower prices. Yeah, for the first time in the many weeks, we find ourselves back at 45 cents. It's amazing because the last time we were at this level, we just dropped, and it was the end of February 29th. See that? And then the next day, the first day of March, look what happened. Bam! It went up all the way to 7.4 cents. It felt bearish, but it wasn't. You see, this whole thing felt a little bit bearish. Rounding top, down. Next day, bam, up. Yeah, no one can predict what can happen. Like, you might feel bearish and the price will suddenly go up. So you have to execute your trading strategy with discipline and without emotion. Okay, so I think it's still a good practice to keep on accumulating so you don't miss the train if the train suddenly decides to leave early, or if suddenly the rocket decides to launch early. But I do think that if this continues, if we start seeing a continuation and weakness and Bitcoin still continues to display weakness, then I think the next best place to buy will be either this little zone here, or the best place will be here at 3.1. All right, and I'm just giving you the areas where I think will be good places to buy if Bitcoin continues to correct and TRVL continues to bleed. All right, and I will, you know, I'll be buying with you guys. You know, once I release this liquidity from this godforsaken property sale, I'll be buying loads. If that's not signaling enough, then I don't know really what is. I think I'm basically giving you it, feeding it to you on the plate. Now, if people want me to buy cheap, then sell. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay. If you want me to buy it cheaper, then keep on selling. I'm happy to take it cheaper. If people are going to be greedy and they don't want me to buy cheap TRVL, then I'll see what people are feeling. I'll see the behavior. But I think most of on the most part, it's going to follow Bitcoin. That is kind of the levels. I've got the fib levels. The only other thing that I'm going to do right now, we've got all of those levels, got those fibs. I'll do this retracement. Exactly, Shab Udin. Happy if it goes up from here, happy if it goes down from here. The more it dips, the more I buy. I'm totally in the same agreement with you. I'm happy if it goes up. I'm happy if it goes down. I'm really like, I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm not sad. Yeah. I would have loved to have seen us go up, and honestly, I would love to be at the all-time high right now. I would love it. I'd be happy. I'd be on holiday. You know, like, I want people to take profit and have life-changing sums. For me, a 4x is not life-changing enough to even bother, to even think about it. Not in the context of a bull market. of a project that I'm so bullish on. So that's why I wasn't taking profit, even though my average is probably lower than a lot of people. I wasn't taking profit because I'm actually aiming for a lot higher, and I don't want to move the market when the volume is still relatively low. Okay, that being said, you know, I want everyone to be at all-time high retirement. Gary wants to retire. Shab Udin, he wants to buy a restaurant or something, whatever. $5 minimum. There you go. You see, I think Shab just be. I think it's good. I think it just without kind of telling you what to do. Yeah. I just think it'll be a good. It'll be very smart to take some profit at these fib levels. Yeah. I'm not telling you should do this, but because you're a long-term investor and enthusiast, it's not a bad idea to take some profit, especially this big one here at 2.8, 2.8 and a half, 2.9. Okay, just bear that in mind. The reason why I say that is because if the price was to come up here and find resistance and go back down, then the profit that you've taken, you can defend this level or lower down. Yeah, with the profit that you've taken, you can wait for the pullback, and then you can buy that dip. Yeah, so you end up with more TRVL, but also you help to prevent the price suddenly falling back down. Okay, and so if we all had that idea, then it is possible. It's a collective idea. I don't think that responsibility should be on any single person. I think if everyone was like collectively selling and buying at the right places, that's why I'm giving everyone the levels. Yeah, if people buy and sell at the right places, then potentially we wouldn't have this dilemma, because enough people might have taken profit at the right place to hold the price at the right place. All right, so it's definitely a good strategy for everyone to collectively skim a little bit of the profit at the right place without even thinking about it, so that if the price, let's say the price did this, and if the price goes back down, let's say you've skimmed at the right place, then you can defend the low at the right place. Yeah, if everyone did that, it'd be a lot more difficult for the price to just fall down like this. Okay, it's something to bear in mind. The other thing to bear in mind is that up here, the golden pocket is a major resistance area. I think it'd be really crazy for the price to do this. For that would require some kind of event. It would basically require BlackRock to make an announcement and say that they have just bought $20 million worth of TRVL on the open market. That's what that would require. Yeah, and that's why I always say wait for the reaction. If you see the reaction, and so looking at it now, you can see that there was a reaction on the 382. Yeah, there wasn't a second test, unfortunately, but there was a reaction. So you wait for the reaction. If you go up there, you see the price is reacting, just bear that in mind. Like, that's resistance. Like, it's resistance until it's flipped. Yeah, and so naturally, it's not a bad idea to skim profit into resistance. Yeah, when you see a reaction, not a bad idea. I think for those of people who are interested in TRVL, it's actually a good idea, because those are the people who are going to put value back in. So anyway, that's the fib levels. The other fib level that I'm going to do is this. Okay, and it's not as respected as on the weekly time frame. Maybe on the daily it's a little bit more respected. So it's basically from the all-time low to this pivot high that's been put in. You can see that there is respect. Actually, the 236, a little back test there. That's nice to see. The 382 was really not respected that much. except here on the way back, on the way down. And this 50%, no respect. Maybe we'll get the same behavior. Maybe we'll get a little back test up to 4.9 cents before we continue, similar to here and here. So look out for that. And then naturally also to see here, the golden pocket of this retracement corresponds very nicely with this little higher time frame area of interest that I've marked out with all of these daily levels and this weekly level. It's a bit of a zone, yeah, right into the golden pocket. That's going to be a good place to buy. So that really is your first good place to buy if anyone's looking to position in and they don't have any position. You've never bought TRVL, you're interested, that's a good place to take your first position. And then obviously all the way down at 3.1. You see here that 786 comes in at 2.9 cents. It's below our 2.1. It's a really good area as well. So these are good areas if people are interested. So those are the two fib retracements that I have that are really important. I'm going to have a look and see if there's anything else. There is a couple of other things, actually, because I've been thinking about this. So I've been messing around with these trend lines a lot. For all intents purposes, they're all rubbish. Trend lines are basically rubbish. See, look, rubbish. That's a rubbish trend line. Maybe that was the best one, but we lost that. Maybe that was the best one. I don't know which one the best one was. Maybe that was. They're all pretty rubbish. I think the best one now, if people like trend lines, is probably this lowest one here. Probably. And that would basically put the price. You see how I drew it? It's from the all-time low to the first low that was made after it. Let me just put it on the daily time frame. So that's the all-time low here. And that was the first low after the first dip. If you line those two up, I don't know if that's going to hold. But if you look at the way the price is moving, it's hard because look, the only level that corresponds in the current time frame is slightly below us at 4.2 cents. Yeah, so there isn't really much confluence of levels here. It's just a trend line and just one daily level. That could hold, you know, no one knows what could happen in the future. That trend line, because suddenly the price could come down here and it could hold. It could just go right back up. You could, that's 100% possible. Yeah. You just don't know. No one really knows what's going to happen. Okay. And so just bear that in mind. That trend line is there. That's the furthest trend line away from the price, the least steep trend line possible on this whole price action. And so naturally, people might be thinking to themselves, well, look, Amir, I don't know really when to buy. I want the safest way to buy. Yeah. When's the safest way to buy, or the safest time to buy? People are thinking about time, not about place. Well, if you take a trend line from the all-time high to this last pivot that's been put in, this is your outer trend line. It's the same idea as this outer trend line here. Yeah. So when you're thinking about trend lines, there's lots of trend lines. They're very subjective, but the outer ones aren't very subjective because you're taking the last two outer pivots. So on this kind of chart, it's from the all-time high to the highest one, the last highest one. That's your outer trend line. And you're doing exactly the same thing with these two lows here, the all-time low to the first outer pivot, the furthest pivot away. Okay, and this is kind of giving us this idea, this kind of higher time frame idea of some kind of triangle. Okay, and the safest place to buy, if people are not worried about the price going down, they just want to buy it when it's going up, is just to, let's just break this trend line and go up. Yeah, back test and go up. That's kind of what you want to see. You'll be buying it much higher, but at least then you don't have to panic about your value going down. That's what you want to see. That happens quite a lot. Okay, and if people are looking for a much more aggressive entry, they're waiting for, they want to see a quick change in behavior, then you can actually draw a much steeper trend line here of the price. It kind of is very again, trend lines are very subjective. I like to take the outer lines, but you see, looking at the price action here, you can see that maybe, I don't know, maybe there was a kind of a steeper line that was forming, that was pushing the price down. I don't like it personally. I think these outer lines are better. Now the question is, do you take it to the last point that dropped, or do you take it to the furthest one on the outside? Do you try to match them all up? That's the subjectivity that is hard to evaluate. I don't find it very easy to evaluate, so that's why I like to just keep it to the outer ones. You know, then there's no, it's not very subjective. It's just the outer trend line. Okay, so potentially you could say, well, look, let's just break this one first. Yeah, clearly there's a line there. Let's just break this outer trend line first. And so we are into a little bit of a crunch zone. Do we go down here, find support, go up and break? You know, that'll be your first kind of indication of a change. And then no longer will the price be held by this trend line that's holding the price. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. I'll be keeping an eye on this lower one to see if that holds. Honestly, trend lines don't have to hold. Trend lines are bizarre. The horizontal ones are the ones that you're really looking for, the horizontal flips. But I'll keep those. Now, from that previous high, you could have done that with any of these pivots. This one, probably. You see what happened? As the price was able to get above it, a little back test, that was a good time to buy. It's basically what I'm saying. I'm saying these outer ones, you want to see this kind of price action. If anyone waited for this outer trend line, the initial outer trend line to break, yeah, then look, you didn't have to get involved in any of this. And the first time you got involved, you're still buying at 3.1. Yeah. And it didn't really go down after it broke. It went down to 2.9, but it was basically you're buying at the right place. And after the trend line broke, the price managed to push up all the way up to 11, 12 cents. Yeah. And so it's the same idea, really. Exactly the same idea. Just wait for that outer trend line to break, then you have a safe entry. I'm not using that strategy, but that will give you the confidence to buy. And if you want a much more aggressive trend line break, there's a steep one here. We had a steep one here too. Exactly the same idea. Yeah. There you go. Right up to that pivot. Maybe to that one. Somewhere there. There's a little area. There's a little pivot. And it's not exact, but you see how it broke. Yeah, it fell down, kind of fell support, but actually it was the right, if you broke, it was at 2.3, it came all the way down to to 1.9, and then it started going up. You're looking for that break. Those outer line breaks, they'll give you the confidence to know that there's no longer this down moving trend line pushing the price down, All right, so that's kind of where we're at with TRVL. Let me just see if there's anything else, because I haven't really looked at this so much. Naturally, I don't expect the price to come back underneath this trend line. That would be weird. This one here. That would be very weird. Honestly, I don't expect the price to come underneath the all-time low either. Okay. So I'm just going to delete these anyway. And then within the context of the previous analysis that I've done in the past, you still have those mini ranges will act as support and resistance. So let me just mark those off. And so what did I do? What did I say? I can't remember now. I'm just thinking about it. So I was saying, and we have a lot more data now. So you have these previous ranges that we're coming back into, and just looking at the price action now. I broke the range, the overall range into two. Let me just see if there's any changes now. Again, let me pull these volume levels. Value area high. We almost did it, huh? Almost held. Almost held to go up. Almost. It was so close. That was a shame. Go to the 3-day time frame. See if this is easier to see. Well, we have a bull market volume, which is very different to the rest of the volume. So let me just mark that out. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so this is very interesting what I've just done. So the way I'm formulating this volume is based from the all-time low to the current price. So just the volume for the bull market. So I'm assuming the all-time low was the beginning of the bull market, sometime in October. You could take that a little bit back. You could probably take it all the way back to the beginning of October if you wanted. It won't make any difference to the profile at all. Okay. Not really. The profile is pretty much the same. Let me have a look again. Yeah, not much difference. So let's just take it from the bottom. Let's just take it from the bottom, the whole bottom there. All right. So this is. Let's take it from when it was at the bottom, not when it entered the bottom. There. So this is the bull market volume profile. As far as the volume that's come in after the bottom was put in, right? And let me just mark these off now. Value area high. I'm going to call it bull market value area high. We have the point of control, which is probably the overall point of control now. Value area low. That's quite interesting. This is quite interesting. Why is that interesting? Well, we compare it to the overall volume. You can see the point of control is much higher. The bull market point of control is, we've just lost that. There's a couple of light areas of interest. And then you've got this bull market value area low. You see that? So as far as the bull market is concerned, this is the range. We have lost the point of control, so that's not a good sign. But we are still within the volume range as far as the bull market is concerned. So for all intents purposes, I don't know if we're going to lose the value area low. It doesn't make sense to just lose the value area low. It does make sense to not be able to escape the value area high and fall back in, and not escape it and fall back in. It also does make sense for the point of control to be some kind of SR flip, which it is. Messy one, but it is. But in the same way, I don't necessarily think we're just going to go through that level. I think looking at it now, whether we find support or even if we lose it, we come like the same as this. The same as this. Like that's what I'll be looking for. How the price behaves around, in and around this volume area. Okay. So naturally I'm looking for the price to find support. And that could also act as that's 4.2. Let me add that to my higher time frame levels. Look, that comes nicely, corresponds with this daily level here, which is also some kind of SR flip. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how low the price is going to get, but we're already, that's going to be a major support level after the previous ones that we've lost. Let's see. How does that correspond with the fibs? With this fib, nothing. And that one, nothing. Okay. We've got this trend line. See that? And then what day are we on now? Tuesday. We could be, I mean, could the price find support like that? To break? I don't know. That's pretty extended. I think maybe, let's see if we find support here. That would be a nice place to find support here. A little bit premature for a lot of people, and we'll know. The way we'll know is what you want to see now is the price to find support, and let's just break this trend line, this one. That's the first thing you want to see. Break that trend line, then this whole down move is now changed, so we're no longer in this kind of down push, and then form something else. Yeah, maybe about another bottoming pattern here, or maybe we continue going down. Like, no one really knows, but that would be a good place to see if the price reacts at about 4.2 cents. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on that, and then we'll have to see how that plays out together. That's your bull market volume. There's lots of mini ranges here, but I'm not going to bother with them because we've passed all of that now. I think it's clear to see that we have a little bit of a range, an upper range here now, and this whole lower part was its own kind of range all the way to there, wasn't it? It's all one range, and maybe we can ignore the rest. I don't know. Let's just do it till there. According to that, we're already into the value area. It's not very helpful at all. Let me take it all the way to back there. Yeah. Not helpful at all. Let's take it to here. No. And that's the problem. When you when you get back into a volume area, the price usually tries to get to the other side. So in all of these profiles that I've drawn, just in this lower part, you can see that we're already back into the value area high. And just looking at this, I can, again, it's all the way back to 3.1. How far away is 3.1? It's only 34% down, 32. I almost wish we'd have a low volume decline so we can just get people buying again, just to get out of here. I almost say I'd like to expedite this idea. All right, that's that. Is there anything else that I can do? Because this is all relatively new. This is the weekly candles. I mean, look, we've lost the 50% mark. You'd expect the price to get down to the golden pocket now, wouldn't you? So in terms of fib, we are looking for the golden, like whoever's, it'd be very surprising to not hit the golden pocket now that we're down here. No. So even though 4.2 may arbitrarily hold the price, maybe we lose that as well. Okay. It's going to require Bitcoin to be really bearish to create this kind of price action, FYI. So don't think that it's just TRVL. I mean, Bitcoin is probably going down a lot as well if this is to happen. Just don't think that somehow none of this is not related to Bitcoin. All right. There are some other things I can do. We've got this GAN fan from the all-time high. Just get it directly on this area right there. This is on the weekly time frame. We've clearly lost it, unfortunately. Look at that. Oof. It's amazing. We almost had it, but we didn't. We couldn't hold. Potentially, I don't know how relevant that's going to be now. It's kind of washed. We've traded through it so many times, and the last few times we haven't really respected it. Let me have a look on a slightly lower time frame. Why can't I see it? Let me have a look on the lower time frame to see. Yeah, I mean it's hard, but look, there is kind of some kind of unusual respect. But it's really difficult to trade on these. So possibly we do have to get back above it in the same manner. That will be an important line to cross. And obviously we haven't even been able to get to the 4.2, let alone higher, let alone to the 8.1, 4.1 to the 8.1. So we're in a bit of a kind of discovery zone here. And effectively, we're just trying to see where the price finds support. That GAN is actually quite good, so I'll keep that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the regular chart, which I don't usually do. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a speed fan on this current price action. from this low to this pivot. Now let's put in. We've literally lost every speed fan line. Doesn't look like there was any respect either. Let's try that one. Nope. Let's try that one. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. That's doesn't mean anything. It's just sometimes you see a lot, you see respect, and sometimes you don't. Let me do it the other way. There's literally nothing. Not from the all-time high. Let's try this pivot here. Just have to line these up because it's so hard to use regular charts. Right. Well, there you go. Look at that. Again, hindsight is perfect when you're looking at the past, but can you see how that price has reacted off that 382? Right, this is on the regular chart, so it's not something that people look at. From that pivot to the all-time low, a little reaction there. I can clearly see we have resistance levels, you know, like this is the thing, people don't realize that. Looking at empty space, people are then asking, when does resistance end? Well, eventually it will end when you get past all of these resistance levels, you know, these kind of speed levels. Yeah, and there's no way to know. You can only know after the event, afterwards. Right, doesn't really help now. Just mark down speed. Right, this is something to look at. I'll keep an eye on that now. I've got that. And then the other thing I'm going to do is anchored VWAP. Let's see where they are. I'll do it from the beginning. That's an anchored VWAP. Oh, look at that. That's good. It's a good sign that the volume weighted average price is dropping. Eventually, we'll need to flip that into support. Right now, on the overall buy bit price action from historically, from the beginning to now, you can see that the average volume is now at about 11.7 cents. That's good. You want it to be as low as possible because eventually in the future, we're going to flip. Eventually. All right, that's something to consider. Let's have a look at the volume profile, the average volume weighted profile from the all-time low. Again, we've lost it. So in this whole bull market, you can see the volume, the VWAP, the anchored VWAP is, it looks like it's acting as resistance. Now, what you want to do is you want to flip that into support. This anchored VWAP, you want to flip that into support, and then we can start moving up. And effectively, what we want to do is the overall volume, we want to flip that into support. And so there's a little bit of work to be done. It's just a great opportunity now. It's a really great opportunity. I think what people need to do is allow the price to settle into a really a major support zone, a really major area of interest where the price, you're expecting the price to find support, not arbitrarily into thin air after a red candle. What we want to see now is one of these areas of interest that I've marked off, whether it's the bull market volume or the overall volume, where you've got trend lines, where you've got some fib levels, yeah, and then you've got these higher time frame liquidity levels. Now what you're looking for is you're looking for the price to find support into one of these areas of major interest where you see a good level of a good amount of confluence. When you see the price is finding support, that's a good place to start buying. You can already see that, look, this daily level, look, you see there's already a reaction from that. Yeah, I bought this. Of course I did, you know. Why did I buy? Look at that. Some madman selling relatively low volume underneath, sold right into the daily level. Guess what I did? I was buying underneath the daily level. Yeah, no, I didn't buy this. I was buying here. So already I'm in a little bit of profit. I haven't taken any profit in that little trade of mine. I'm wondering if we go right back up. It'd be funny if we go right back up to 5 cents. I have no problem buying the dip. If people want to sell, I'll happily buy. I'm not really worried about that at all. So this is it. This is kind of what we're looking at. It looks quite strange, but this is it. These are your liquidity levels. This is where the price is going to find support and resistance. This is how the price, where the price needs to get through. Anywhere you see black space, there's probably no resistance, or there's no, the price will move quite quickly. Yeah. Everywhere you see lines is probably where the price is going to find some kind of support or resistance. Okay. And if you want a safe entry, just wait for these outer trend lines to break. And obviously, if the price comes down into these kind of major areas, even if we lose this lower trend line, I'll still be buying. I don't care about trend lines. I've already said that. Not too fussed about trend lines so much. I'm much more interested in these horizontal lines, especially areas of confluence where there's a lot of important levels coinciding. You add the fibs, you know, you add the fibs, and you can already see there's a really good one here, and then you've got a good one down here as well. Okay, we've got two really strong areas of interest to buy, which are lower down. And see, the price is already struggling on the first one, and that's just a single line. Okay, so the price isn't just going to go down in a straight line. It's going to have to go down in bits if that's what it wants to do. And again, it's the same idea for us people, for us who are buying. The price isn't going to go up in a straight line. The price is also going to go up the same manner that it comes down, right? So just bear that in mind. I'd rather the price come down quickly because it means we can go up quickly. So this whole move coming down, it feels quite slow, but actually looking at it, it's been quite quick. Yeah, this whole move down, it's been quite quick. That was quite slow, but then this is quite quick. The reason why that was slow is because you had a really high volume node there, and it wasn't easy to get through, and so therefore the same idea applies. I don't expect the price to easily go through that volume node unless, of course, you have some crazy news which excites everyone, and everyone just buys and doesn't care about tomorrow. That's kind of where we are at now with TRVL. I have no predictions for the downside. I don't know. I have no idea where we're going to find support. We're in a little bit of uncharted territory right now. All I know is that this is where you're going to find the most support, where I've drawn the lines. That's all I know. Okay. Eventually, the price will bottom out. Eventually. There's no way the price is going to go down to 1.9 cent. So eventually, somewhere here, we will find support. Okay. And guess what? You find support. Guess what happens? The price goes up then. Yeah. Eventually, the selling will stop. The selling will stop and the buying will resume. And the price will resume its original course. And while we've lost this lower low here on the daily time frame, we haven't confirmed a daily bearish market structure just yet. We've put in a higher high here. We're making a lower low now. We're still in the process of making that low. So just because we've taken out that low, we're in the process now of putting in a lower low somewhere. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, on Tuesday or Monday, we put in a lower low here. Here. And that's our low, lower low. Then the price has to go up somewhere and put in a lower high. Now, it would make sense to come up to that lower low pivot and flip that into resistance. That would make sense. That also corresponds with the bull market point of control and this flip and this daily level just above the 50% mark. It would make sense. That's a good area. Then what you would want to see is a lower low. Price goes up, makes a lower high, and then goes down and takes out that low. And then you have this daily bearish daily market structure beginning. That will be confirmation. Make a lower high, go down and make a lower low. Okay. I honestly think the bulls have their work cut out. So it, for all intents and purposes, unless there's some kind of craziness in Bitcoin, it's very possible that we do create a lower high and a lower low. Because if we do get a push up, you're going back into areas of resistance, flipped areas, and you literally need a crazy bullish impulse to get through those areas. In all of these liquidity lines are not to the upside. I mean, effectively, what the bulls will need for this to lower low to not impact the direction of travel, which is down, they need this lower low to actually be their higher low, and then from here on there out to go all the way up to take out that high. That's what the bulls would. The bulls would need us to put in a low now, and for that low to never be revisited, yeah, ever again. That would be the higher low. Yeah, if that becomes the higher low, then it means the next move has to be effectively a V-shaped recovery going all the way back to above 12 cents. That's effectively what would need to happen to change this whole structure from continuing to form some kind of bearishness to reverse that and to become bullish again. That's what would need to happen, and no one knows what's going to happen. Literally no one knows. I can't predict that, but this is what would need to happen. Otherwise, you go up and you put in a lower high. It's probably where we've flipped, which is there, and you continue going down until you find enough liquidity to start forming some kind of reversal pattern in his lows. It will take a few months, 2 months or something like that, if that's to form a reversal pattern here. No one can predict what's going to happen. Sushant, how's it going? Yeah, a long time. You've been away. No one really knows. Honestly, I think Bitcoin is about to be put in a major pivot on Monday or Tuesday, Monday night, Tuesday morning, and Bitcoin's going to go up. But I don't know how that's going to impact the rest of the market, and I don't know if before that time we have another big big drop. I have no idea. Yeah, everyone is saying Bitcoin is moving, so I guess my analysis is over. And let's just have a look at some other things. Any questions on TRVL? That's TRVL. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Yeah. Well, look, not really. Bitcoin